No need to ask, Jesus.
Welcome back. Smooth and Crypto. I'm your host, Maxwell Smooth. We got Erik from DragonX and a multitude of other stuff. How you doing, man?
Good, man. Good.
Yeah.
Let me kill the YouTube video here.
All right, sounds good.
There we go. You're doing really good. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. You know, it's been a little minute since you've been on stream, so I'm honored and blessed to have you on and, you know, to get to know you a little bit more and hear kind of what you got going on.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, it's good we can catch up on everything that's happening on our end and also just like cross-chain, Titan Farms, all the good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a lot of building on the back end of a lot of different people, and I'm sure it's the same way with you. So I'm really, really pumped to have this stream.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, we can get into Flare as well. I'm very interested to hear more about this and see where you're going to take it.
I appreciate
Sounds
it.
like you're using good auditors. So you're using Hunter Security, you said?
Yeah. So we have George doing one, and then we had another one. It was OX3B, I believe is what it is. So he's done a lot of different projects and whatnot. So, but I love having George's team for the second audit. So the first one came back really smooth, minor stuff that's already been fixed. So, you know, hopefully George is like, yeah, it sounds good. It looks good. Like launch it whenever. So
who are your devs? Are they part of the community or is it your own dev team that's not known?
Decentra.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So they kind of got a lot of different, you know, dev works and projects that they're building right now. So I'm glad they could squeeze me in. It's been a little bit of time building it, and me adding the auto minting of X28 definitely added a few weeks. But at the end of the day, it's really bullish for all of TitanX. So I kind of had to do it.
Sweet. That's awesome.
Awesome, man. Yeah. So one big question I had was, you know, when we go cross chain and omni chain, kind of where do you see your projects going and what you think, how you're going to capitalize on us going omni chain?
Yeah, I think first of all, I don't see us doing something like X28 for DragonX. I think we've kind of decided against that after ultimately talking with Jake. And I think there's plenty of good reasons to do it. But for us, we want DragonX to be like the scarce product, the store of value product. And we don't necessarily want to have equivalents. So that's kind of part of why people hold DragonX, is that it's that thing that's just outperforming and acts as a store of value within the ecosystem. We want to preserve that. But we can still take DragonX basically cross-chain by enabling it at the contract level. So we would expect to have cross-chain DragonX for wherever we decide to go as a community, which would be probably Pulse Chain at first and Base as well. That's awesome. For DragonX itself, we're probably going to be doing, we're going to be taking that cross-chain, and then we'll also obviously bring farms, because we're going to be launching new protocols, most likely on these various chains. There'll be new utility, and we want a farm so that people can have a reason to hold those tokens, right? And then, in addition, like those farms are valuable for other communities within the ecosystems we penetrate, to basically give us more marketing exposure. Like if we're bringing APY to some other coins within a community, then that's beneficial. So
absolutely.
It's going to be farms in DragonX.
Awesome, man. Yeah, for one, having, like you said, the absolute scarcity of DragonX is massive. And I think if you don't take any new economic energy from it, right, and you just continuously push the actual amount of tokens and DragonX to Omnichain, I think that's just such a bullish case for all of the holders and investors of DragonX.
Yep, 100%. That's the goal. The goal is to keep DragonX very scarce. Doesn't matter where it gets sent over chain, and there'll be arbitrage opportunities as well, which is good.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, and like you said, with the farms as well, just having some type of exposure to other projects in that ecosystem and whatnot will bring a lot of eyes to what we're doing, and it will create such a kind of a rabbit hole type of interest from people that either stumble upon it, or they're like, oh, a project that I really like on these other chains are part of the farm. So let me kind of see what we got going on in the back end. And that's kind of when all of the lore really starts hitting them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, there's already so many projects that are interested that we've reached out to on Pulse Chain, SolidX, and others that are going to be probably part of our farm from like day one. So that's a whole nother set of users. I think SolidX has like 8,000 users.
Hmm.
And there's plenty of other big tokens on Pulse Chain that we would support. We're not going to be tribal in any way. I think that there's plenty of space within farms for other ecosystems and communities, and so we can support new projects within TitanX, and we can support Pulse Chain community, and we're just bridging that gap because we have the same DNA. Like the two ecosystems have the same DNA, even though there's plenty of hate between the two. I don't really see
Yeah.
it as being something that it should necessarily be that way. I mean, it's fine to shit talk and stuff on Twitter and all that, but like, you know, there's plenty of room for collaboration. There's plenty of room for people having their tokens supported within farms. Even people that I beef with, like B Roots. Like I wouldn't say no to a teddy bear farm if the volume's good, right? Like
Right. Yeah.
it's good for them. It's good for us. If they don't want to support it, then we'll delist it. But you know, I don't see a reason to let any pass beef or anything prevent us from listing quality.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like, you know, you have that one cousin that you always are in competition with, but you love each other anyway at the end of the day. So I think having, like you said, if it's a lot of volume on certain coins, why not have it? And at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's just adding more liquidity to those tokens anyway. So I don't know why anybody would be against, you know, even more exposure.
100%. Yeah. And I'm sure Pulse Chain will do better when Richard comes back and his stuff is kind of cleared a little bit more.
Yep.
Like complete decision or not, I think that things will probably only get better from here. So we want to be positioned for that as well. You know, I have a lot of ideas for things that I could build on Pulse Chain, you know, that could potentially help DragonX or just help Hex. So yeah, that could be really cool. And then Base, that's kind of new territory, you know.
Yep. Yeah,
I don't know if you
I'm
know.
just excited to see kind of what that means for us being on base. Truly.
Yeah, I have some ideas because I think that we probably want to have more of a marketing. We're going to need to do more marketing than we
Yep.
did for Titan Farms or for Pulse Chain Titan Farms, just because of the lack of penetration. But I think one way we can do that is by adding a referral system to farms. It's not something that we're 100% on yet, but it's something that I would like to see, where basically you have, you know, like could be a multi-level referral system potentially, and the people that refer users in, they get the incentive token. So if you look at these KOLs and how they operate, they're so cash focused, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like they don't really hold a lot of alts actually, unless maybe they created their own alt or they're currently shilling an alt. Like they don't actually have much allegiance to any alt at all.
Yep.
Right. So what we can do is, and what they do to make their money is they do these one-off shills, and then they also shill referral links for exchanges, right? For margin trading, for all this stuff that gets people wrecked. And you'll be surprised how much volume some of these small KOLs are actually bringing to these platforms like Blowfin and Bybit. And I think there is a place, because I have talked to some KOLs about having them work a referral system for something like Farm, and they are very interested. So it's definitely a possibility that we can get some people who have bigger audiences outside of TitanX into that.
Yeah,
Like,
I like the way that
yeah.
sounds. I mean, just having some type of, you know, you don't want to over reward, but you also have to pique some interest, you know, in the new things. So you kind of have to give a little piece of the pie to certain people to really, for them to push. And at the end of the day, if it's fully incentivized on just growing and the more people who looking at it, I think they'll push it even harder. So I don't see that as a negative at all. In all honesty, I think it's really bullish for the farms.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, the cool thing about it is that TitanX incentive token is kind of designed to be sold, right? Like it's specifically designed for people to bring in volume to submit LP and then actually earn the token, and they can sell it and the fees will eat it up, right?
Yep.
And it's a fixed issuance. So it's not like we're inflating the supply, particularly for referrers. Like a lot of these protocols, like Hex and other protocols, they actually inflate the supply for referrers, but we don't have to do that. So the issuance will stay the same, fixed at some rate. Maybe I don't know, maybe it'll be a little bit lower, like if we anticipate lower volume, but that rate will be fixed in the contract. So then those people are just getting a portion of those rewards, and there's no extra inflation. So, but you could bring a lot more volume, right? And that's the cool part about having a referral system with farms.
Yeah, especially if it's built on that type of asset, like a tank or something like that. I mean, having a buy and burn on a reward uh, token plus other projects building on top of that reward token, that just is a win-win. And if it's bringing exposure, you're deflating the token. It's not inflating it by giving the rewards. It's just all around a net positive.
Yep. And we also get to kind of experiment with different concepts within the different chains. You know, we might be able to take a different direction. Like, for example, the affiliate system is one, but you know, we could potentially take a different direction with other things that we add to the farms, right? Like maybe there's more of a speculative aspect or a gaming aspect to base or to pulse chain because the fees are lower, but we keep the Titan farms the way it is, kind of like it's that pure DeFi farm with all of the core TitanX stuff being supported. So we can take different tacks and adapt to the different ecosystems and the different, like, basically strengths of the chain.
That's bullish. Yeah. I love that, everything that we do, not only what you're doing, but as the community as a whole that are builders, we always are adding more utility, trying to gamify whatever chain we're on. And, sometimes the ETH and the Gwei and everything is pretty aggressive. So the fact that we are going to be on other chains and a lot of the economic energy comes from Ethereum to these other chains, and we just utilize their effortless and small gas fees, you could really change everything about a project if you really wanted to, just to really capitalize on that.
Yeah, for sure. And the what you can potentially build on the other chains is also different, right? Like arbitrage bots, certain types of games. It does open up the field a little bit for build on TitanX in general as well.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, I think just having the forward thinking of being on other chains, not only just building what we have here and just kind of cross pollination is just something that we need to do. And I think it's been a long time coming, and I'm glad that 2025 is going to be really the year that we really start taking over, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I think what we're doing is not going to be limited either to just doing deployments. We want to grow the pie.
Yep.
So we could talk about marketing stuff later, but yeah, there's other stuff planned because we don't really want to just be a team that just does deployments. Like, we also want to bring in new eyeballs. So that's a big part of that. But we could talk about, actually, before we jump into that stuff, maybe we talk about Flare and what's going on with what you guys are building.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So I don't know, how much do you know about what I'm building and whatnot? In total?
I don't know anything, actually. I haven't been following Flare whatsoever.
Oh, cool. So, all right, let me pull up the white paper just to show you kind of a quick run through. Yeah, so basically, Flare, easiest way I can describe it is it's 11 weeks of minting. So Fridays you can go on mint, just how like Inferno, Alien X, Awesome X, all that. But during the mint weeks, you have daily auctions rolling all at the same time. So Friday mint, Saturday claim. That Saturday is the day 2, and that's an auction. And so it'll be 6 days of auction, 1 day of minting for 11 weeks. And then 76% of all of the ETH and TitanX that comes in is going to auto mint X28. So that's the short version of really what it is. And I just wanted it to be a very fair way to get tokens out. And obviously no one's really have done the minting and the auction together at the same time for minting. But I thought that was a good little corner of what we haven't done yet and what I could do, put a spin on it.
That's cool. So you actually only have 1 mint day per week, so people need to get in on that day.
Yeah, if they want to create tokens. So we also have a trillion starting in the auction pool. And so this is going to be pretty massive auctions in the beginning, but also when I was doing math on it, it just created so much more longevity and healthiness of the auction pool and the system. So although, we start with the trillion in the auction pool, day 1 minting will probably be pretty big. Maybe minting drops off a little bit over time, but at the end of the day, there's still going to be a trillion tokens in the auction pool, and eventually that stuff's going to get burnt as well. So it's going to be pretty aggressive throughout the auction week.
Okay. And how are you setting up your liquidity pool? Are you if you go to that bit?
Yeah, so this is one thing that we're not working on, but it's kind of like we can change a little bit of it. But it's going to be initially $5,000. First $5,000 comes in, creates a small LP, and then on day 2 or 3, we're going to add in the remaining just to kind of create a little bit less of sniping bots. And the volatility on the first few days is going to be crazy. So kind of seen some big wicks up and down with these smaller LPs. So kind of just want to get the weak hands out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be main pair is going to be X28 Flare, and then it's also going to be V2 as well. So it's just going to keep compounding back into it.
That's great. That's great. You're doing a V2 pool?
Yep.
Okay, we won't be able to support you on Titan Farms if you do that.
I know. Okay. Trust me, that was like one of the biggest things I said. That I mean, it helps the Flare system having the taxes, but it's like kind of like, do I wanted to be on farms, but at the end of the day, it's kind of hopefully with we have the liquidity web allocation and stuff, so create some liquidity that way, a lot of liquidity pairs, if you will, but definitely wish it was V3, but for the system and the math, it made sense to be V2
because of the tax.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So
and have you guys since you are launching this, I would recommend you look at what Shogun has done and see how effective that has been, the liquidity web, to see if it's necessarily worth it. I'd be very interested to see what the numbers are, and if it actually, because you're giving up potential farms allocation at some point in the future if you get big enough. So consider that. I mean, I don't know if you have you run those numbers, how much has Shogun benefited from having the liquidity web versus the primary pair being most of the tax? Or
yeah, I mean, for the most part, Shogun has 3 massive LPs, and then everything is kind of smaller. And at the end of the day, I think majority of the bots, majority of the trading from the actual investors are definitely through those bigger LPs. So, the webbing necessarily won't be as broad as Shogun's. So we're going to do the capped deflationary tokens or super high volume tokens that may or may not be inflationary. So for the most part, it'll be all capped deflationary LP web.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So the weeks, small drop off, 0.01 every week. This just will allow potential ROI for that Friday rolling through all of the auction weeks. So just the more math we did on it, this kind of created a potential for the ROI to still be solid, even if the auctions are going nuts.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay. And then so 48% is going to be used for the daily auction pool buying, which is going to be over 180 calls the next day. So everything that comes in on a auction or mint the very next day is what this 48% is going to be buying. So definitely a lot of program buy pressure, and all that is just going to be feeding into the daily auction pool. And the higher percentage we had on this, the more burning it actually does over time, and it kind of is a recycled kind of system.
Okay.
And then 20% is used for the buy and burn. 8% is used for the Inferno Flare pair for the first 4 weeks. And then after that, we're going to be sending it to the buy and burn V2 forever after that. So just want to create a massive LP with Inferno. And after that, just be sending all of that to burn as much Inferno as we can.
Cool. 8% is sent to the creation of. Okay, so after that, you're sending that to the Inferno buy and burn. Okay, cool. That's a good catalyst for Inferno. That's nice.
Thank you. Yeah, I originally had it as just a send it to the Inferno buy and burn, and then the more I was playing with it, is it's not wasted energy because Inferno will be one of our biggest pairs, but this is guaranteeing Inferno Flare pair is going to be massive for the first 4 weeks growth of it, and then it's still V2, so it's going to still be growing as trading happens. So then 8% of the Titan X is going to be used for liquidity webbing, and like I said, full like capped deflationary tokens mixed with potential just high volume tokens as well. So a lot of those have a, you know, in the ecosystem of TitanX definitely fit that criterion. And, you know, it's just more leverage at the end of the day and more exposure to deflation.
Mm-hmm.
And then 8% to Genesis. And so basically, you know, no matter what, 48% of the mint or the auction is going to be bought that very next day. Like I said, it starts off with $1 trillion in the daily auction pool. And then 11% is used every day during the mint phase, 5% after the mint phase. So 110 billion is going to be the first auction. So it's going to be some pretty big auctions the first week, second week. And it should level out eventually. But it's to be seen. We haven't done a minting auction style project yet. So I'm sure there's going to be some learning curves, if you will.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think it's a good idea to have the 5% used. It adds a bit of sustainability potentially to the buy and burn. So
exactly. So I just didn't want you know, a massive, you know, nothing wrong with a massive allocation from the auction pool, but 5% definitely creates a lot more stability over time. So the buy and burn is basically exactly like Inferno. So Sunday to Wednesday, 4% of it's used. Thursday, 10%. Friday and Saturday, 15%. So just ramping up into those mint days, just how like Inferno did. I think it's just I didn't want to reinvent the wheel with that. I liked how that worked when the buy and burn was filled up. And, you know, hopefully all of this is just pushing for more minting every Friday.
Yeah.
And then lastly,
is this the first? Yeah, go ahead.
8% buy sell tax, 3.5% sent to the daily auction pool, 3.5% is burned, 1% Genesis, and then after the 11 weeks, it drops down to 2.8%. So 1% to the daily auction pool, 1% burned, 0.8% Genesis. So
okay,
it's definitely heavier during the mint phase, and then creates a little bit more. Not trying to get 8% after the mint phase. I think 2.8% is almost like unnoticeable, especially with like slippage on Ethereum. You know, you wouldn't even have to set it that high.
Yeah. Is this the first non-Jake project to build on X28? The first to potentially launch? Is there something else out right now with built on X28? Element 280, I guess, probably supports it, right?
Yeah. So Bonfire is going to do it. They haven't released yet. Taurus is also going to do it. Mizuchi's going to do it. Ascendant's going to do it. So there's a lot of upcoming ones. But yeah, pretty much. Hopefully we get out there sooner rather than later. But if we do release first out of all the ones I just said, then Flare would be the first one that incorporates the minting of X28.
Cool. Do you have a public launch date yet, or are you keeping that quiet for now?
Yeah, I just want the second audit to come back. And then, like I've been saying, late January, early February. But Stacks actually auto mints X28. So that is the first one.
Okay.
Dude in Utah Cryptos project. So, but
cool. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's basically Flare in a nutshell. It's going to be, like I said, just 11-week mint. 76% of everything that comes in is going to auto mint X28. So 38% of everything's going to be burnt, which is awesome, but it keeps everything, all the economic value in the system still. So we're not losing coin amounts, and we are exposed to X28 as well.
Perfect. Nice. Do you have any UI you can tease us with, or?
Not yet. All I got is here. I'll pull the landing page, if you will.
Here we go. Nice.
Yeah. So I'll give you a little walkthrough after, just to
nice.
Tease everybody else that hasn't seen it yet. So.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be GoDex, man. I think they have the most fun right now. I mean, Ascendant should be really cool too. I've already seen it. Yeah, it's a toss up, I think, in terms of the artwork on those two, GoDex and Ascendant.
Yeah,
they're both really nice.
Ascendant and GoDex have a really good. I think that's like the next ushering of new projects. I think the one thing we're going to really capture is a beautiful looking DApp. I think You know,
Yeah.
you guys did a rebrand, TitanX did a rebrand on their DApp, right? I think it's just a standard that we're going to have. And moving forward, they're just going to try to just keep leveling up the dApps every single time.
Yeah, people really hit their stride with the design. Like we're looking really good on the front ends now. So
yeah, I mean, the biggest thing is like, I mean, I'm sure you've been in projects where you're like, oh, I know this is going to release this day. You wake up, you get in there, and then you look at the website and you're like, it's okay. I mean, it's, you know, but if it looks good, you're almost like pumped to invest. And that's kind of what I think that, you know, we're tailing into in TitanX for sure.
Yep. Yeah, like the DeFi 1.0 kind of stuff, it's just not compelling. It's not nice to look at.
No.
You know, some of those old apps were just so janky, you know. You're like, am I about to be scammed? You know, it just doesn't, it looks like they put no effort into the UI whatsoever, you know.
Yeah. And on top of that, you know, how many hours and hours have we looked at dApps that just look terrible, you know? So it's like if we build something beautiful or it looks really eye appealing, then, you know, my goal is to have the Flares DApp to be like your background of your computer. That's how nice I want it to look. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of these projects are making that.
For sure. Definitely.
Yeah. So I'm happy to, you know, explain Flare to you. Obviously hasn't been before done, but it's definitely taking a lot of different aspects of the ecosystem, kind of mashing them all into one, kind of just how we all have made projects, you know, just people innovate before you. You say, okay, where can I fit in? What can I change to it? And try it out, right? Because all of this is experiments at the end of the day. And a lot of this stuff is brand new tech. And it's going to be just so cool to see it, you know, not only this year, but 10, 20 years from now and what that looks like.
Yeah, for sure. We've got some cool variations on auctions now, like with yours and Ascendant and some other stuff coming. So it's really interesting. And I mean, if you look at Volt, it's kind of like the price is already, it's recovering now. It looks like it kind of bottomed out. So that was kind of the test. Like, can these things survive? I think they can survive. So it's pretty bullish.
Yeah, and on top of that, you know, every project has its own little spin on it, right? Like Phoenix's auctions are 1% of the total, you know, and how does that look long term versus how aggressive, you know, 5% is or 8% or even Volt's 20% every single day. So it's to be seen, and I think these things are going to go in waves at the end of the day, right? They're going to get more adoption on sometimes, and then the price is going to catch up, even though it's only emitting a specific amount of tokens. So just kind of excited to see how this, not only auctions, but these projects play out really long term.
Yeah, for sure. And to an extent, you know, we're basically tied to the market right now. Like I think most of what's happening right now is just general market sentiment is not great.
Yeah.
Like we track with Ethereum, and Ethereum's been dropping and it's starting to recover a little bit, but all the inflation data and the labor prints are coming out, and that's what's causing all of this. So it's not really ecosystem specific. I think most people are realizing that, like, there's nothing fundamentally wrong here. It's just a matter of where we are in the market.
Yeah, I really think it's TitanX is waiting for a catalyst, in my opinion, but I think the whole market's waiting for a catalyst. And, you know, hopefully, you know, a Trump pump would be great. But at the end of the day, right, like some things are going to happen this year. I mean, this stuff is so cyclical with the macro market, with crypto in general. So these years, right, 2025, 2021, right, 2017, all of these have just been like, you have no idea what's going to happen. And then things start happening out of nowhere.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's our job to just keep building, right? We have a lot of stuff planned, and it's just eliminate TitanX and keep building quality projects and focus on adoption. Like if once you launch a protocol, like we already talked about this before we started, but like if you're there to support it and continue to focus on user growth, like I think you're going to do well within TitanX. Yeah, I think that the protocols where founders are moving too fast from one protocol to the next. I mean, maybe with the exception of like Jake, because, you know, he has a huge audience compared to the rest of us. I think that's not necessarily the best idea for people that are building. They should focus on one protocol and get that as big as possible.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that's definitely what I'm going to do with Flare. I think everything I build, especially being a smaller creator, smaller builder, whatever you want to say, having a long-term, everything I build after this is going to benefit Flare and the original users of Flare. It's just the most bullish case scenario and best thing I could do. I mean, at the end of the day, all of this stuff is coming out of our own pockets to build. So why not keep building on the previous thing. So, and you're in a different position as well with farms and DragonX, and you could really take it all types of different ways. So, yeah, I'm just bullish on everything you're building, and what you got going on, plus what you got coming in the future.
Yeah, I'm really excited also for Oroboros because we're actually going to be doing some groundwork in Titan Farms to allow for stablecoin farming.
Oh, nice.
So we're going to create a special farm just for Oroboros, so we can get as much liquidity around that $1 mark as possible.
That's
so
that's
we're
so
prepping
bullish.
for that. Yeah. So it'll be a tight range. It'll be like a 2 or 5% effectively range on the peg. People can submit liquidity to that, and yeah, that's going to be just a massive supply sink. I think if people start to use that releases a lot of sell pressure, I think, which is really, really good. So that could be the catalyst, along with the macro stuff, to turn TitanX around.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, we've already seen, Oroboros is at 10 cents now, right? And a few weeks ago it was at 1 cent, so it's people realize what we're going to do. And obviously we kind of got some bullish statements from Shadowy and stuff like that. So you never know when it could release, but at the end of the day, I think everybody's ready for something, but especially Oroboros.
Yeah, he's very, very close from what I've heard from him. We're talking on about a daily basis at this point because we need to coordinate with the farms changes. I think actually the farms changes might be what's holding it up at this point. Yeah, but once that's audited, I don't think there'll be much left. So it's very, very close. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think Oroboros just in general would do pretty well without the farms thing, but how bullish is it with the farms? Like that is just a massive, massive adoption for the stablecoin. And I think it's needed, and it'll just concrete that peg, like you're saying, and keeping it within that range that is healthy, right? Because obviously even the best stablecoins still fluctuate a little bit, but early on we need to create as much stability as we can for the long-term aspect of it.
Yeah, I think it's exactly right, because I don't know if any liquidity fork has ever failed, has it? Like,
Not really.
I don't think it has.
Yeah.
Liquidity, a lot of liquidity is holding. So yeah, I've been looking at a bunch of different pairs, liquidity pairs, and LUSD seems to be holding, even some of the really illiquid ones. So I think it would be fine without it. But yeah, just giving people the opportunity to farm stables is really cool, and it might actually just incentivize people to go into Oryx even more and take more supply off the market.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely a great flywheel to have in TitanX, and to add to the farms, right? So stable coin farming is like a whale's dream, in my opinion. So I think hopefully it'll bring some big adoption to the farms and also to the stable coins.
Yeah, and you got then the next step is build on USDX.
Yeah,
burn dollars.
Yep,
break the peg. I don't know if anyone will do that, but we already have that arbitrage stuff going on in X28, so that's probably not necessary. But that'll be kind of funny. Someone tried that.
Someone's going to try it. I don't know who it is, but someone's going to try something in regards to that.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how that gets utilized, how the stablecoin gets utilized, other than farms within the ecosystem.
Yeah,
maybe it's just a cash out mechanism, but also people might actually decide to build on it or do something else with it.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, they'll probably have it as input tokens and stuff to their project. So at the end of the day, right? People are nowadays with new projects, they're trying to give any avenue, like, hey, we'll take any coins you got kind of situation. Like you want to spend that, cool, we'll take it. And I think that's just kind of what's going to happen, is going to be to the point where people are like, look, we're going to offer every coin. If you want to give us any coin at all, you could do that, and we'll fix the way in the background.
Yep. I think it also opens up. So we're considering doing crypto cards. It's not like a right now thing, but this year, I think it would be cool to have a TitanX ecosystem card. So you could have potentially ORX supported as a payment method, as well as maybe Tink. So like if you're farming Tink, then you can just like spend with Tink. How cool would that be? That'd be really
sick. Awesome. Yeah, that'd be
like,
sick. I mean, I would love it.
Yeah, it would be really convenient and fun.
Yeah. And you know,
So
it's one of those things that like it doesn't have to happen right now. Obviously, the growth of the ecosystem will make that even more bullish. And you want to bring the numbers to the card issuer or however we're doing it, right? It's like, hey, we have this much volume, this much capital within the system. This is what we could do with it. And it's only going to get better over time.
yep, it would be really really cool, and I think we have the right partner for it. So it's something we'll probably explore.
Awesome.
Yeah, right now we're just finishing up some other builds, but once we get that out, then I think we're going to be shipping stuff more rapidly for TitanX. Shipping the
love that.
farms, we're shipping maybe credit cards. I want to add like a wallet tracker to DragonX.win. So I don't know if you remember in Hex, there was Hex.live.
Yep.
You could see your stake, your share of what you have, like your position relative to others. I'd like to have something like that for DragonX.win. So
That'd be
yeah,
nice.
there's going to be a lot of little tools, and I'm very excited. We also have some marketing stuff planned, as I was mentioning. I'm gonna be starting some email marketing. So we've kind of probed the world of KOLs. I feel like we understand it really well, actually, probably better than most teams, and we learned a lot. And I think there's probably more effective marketing channels. Direct YouTube interviews and email are probably going to be better. The KOLs are good because they give you some exposure, right? Like you get the big names. Like for example, Ivan, he reads Rover's tweets. We've been on Rover, we've been on Ivan. You know, so the big guys all know about us, and that's valuable. And we definitely got a lot of eyes on DragonX and TitanX. But in terms of like bang for the buck, it's kind of difficult to quantify what these KOLs are really doing for us. So I think we're going to be shifting to more like direct marketing, you know, starting with email. And it's probably going to be a lot more effective from what I've seen. We're looking at a bunch of different newsletters and potentially building our own newsletter. So we provide a ton of value up front, and then people can learn about TitanX ecosystem stuff, farms, DragonX.
Yeah.
So this is another 2025 initiative for us, is building that list up. It should be interesting. It's an interesting experiment. It's kind of cool. Like our team is getting so well versed in so many different areas of crypto. You know, we built a totally decentralized game for Pulse Chain, really state of the art stuff. We've done KOLs, you know, YouTube, Twitter. Now we're doing email. So we're hitting like so many different angles within crypto, and yeah, our experience is really really just growing by the day. So it should be good. I think it will be more effective than KOLs.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know what you don't know until you really go through it. And I think at the end of the day, right, you get more exposure and more knowledge on what works, what doesn't work, right? And the email marketing, you're also going to get very solid analytics of how well it's actually doing. And it's direct, and you know, people read it, and you know, like you said, with newsletters and stuff like that, that's really powerful. And
Mhm.
a big portion of crypto is people between, you know, what, 25 to 60 or 55 or whatever it is. And a lot
Sure.
of those people read stuff, right? As long as listen, as well as listen, but they want to read about something just as much as they want to listen in certain aspects. So I think that's really bullish. And, you know, the more you do and the more your team, in my opinion, does, it's going to just create a snowball effect at the end of the day. And having big eyes on us early on, and maybe like you said, the KOLs like maybe didn't necessarily, you can't quantify how well it did or didn't do, but
Mhm.
exposure and people know about you and the tokens is almost more important, because they will just keep a little eye on it and check it randomly and whatnot. So I don't think anything's wasted, and like you said, it's just a learning curve.
Yeah, for sure. And we do still have some KOL stuff planned for the more like frothy part of the bull market, when things are really kicking off and YouTubers are getting like way more views than they were getting before. I think it's time to revisit that. We have a couple videos now out on YouTube from different creators that focus on DragonX, and I think we're probably going to get a lot of more views on those. So it's an investment, right? It's there. It's content that's out on the internet. So I think that's fine, and we can revisit more YouTube engagements with KOLs after the fact. But interviews also, I think, I mean, if you look at like what Richard did. All he really did was interview people to get Hex to what it was. And so that's really I think the most powerful medium is just getting high level interviews. So that's another focus. Like I would say that getting a featured video for a token is less powerful than potentially getting a YouTuber to sit down with you and talk with you and learn about your project.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And, Richard also had the debate streams as well. And those
Debate streams,
those went crazy as well. So, just getting in front of people's eyes and just giving them something tangible to listen to or learn about is really bullish. And, nowadays X has you get more views in my opinion, but YouTube, it's like if you're getting a lot of views on YouTube, those people are dedicated, really dedicated. So I would love to see it. And at the end of the day, right, you just keep pushing and keep doing, stuff like you're doing right now with me and getting on other channels and kind of cross pollination of exposure. And I love it. Yeah, I think it's just a matter of time before we have a lot of eyes on us, as well as we have a lot of growth potential too. Yeah,
for sure. And on this entire time we're burning TitanX, it sounds like Jake's coming out with some kind of AI product, which is smart.
Yep.
That's very specific. That's the kind of thing that we need. That's one thing that's so cool about TitanX, right? Is it's a platform. It's not just another token.
Yep.
So you can pivot to meet certain narratives. Like now AI is popping. Great. Let's do an AI token, right? So and I think DragonX is probably going to take that route too. So I'm not sure if a new token right now, I know we talked about Death Star and all the cool stuff, and we had some great ideas, really good ideas, very competitive protocol. But is now the right time for another DeFi protocol? I don't know. I think it might be better if we do some games, maybe some, I won't get into the details, but I think there's maybe some AI stuff we could do for DragonX. Could be AI gaming. We have some ideas for games driven by AI.
Yep.
And that's it's not only narrative, but it's more engaging than yet another DeFi protocol potentially. So yeah, I think Jake's making a really smart move here, and we may follow him as well.
Yeah, I mean, just the narratives are really what kind of pushes projects and ecosystems at the end of the day, right? The farms, amazing narrative to have, lending, amazing narrative, right? So it's just adding the cornerstones and, stores in the city, if you will, right? We want to build the city, and you want to be able to go, if you like this, you can do that. If you like that, you can do that. And I think we're slowly building up exactly what you're saying. And, we need things that catches people's attention, and we're slowly building them. We have a lot of DeFi projects. We're going to have a lot of utility coming in the future. Mm-hmm. And it's just so bullish, and we're not stopping at any time soon. You guys, Jake, right, other teams, we're just steady building, and, red candles, green candles, it really doesn't matter at the end of the day.
Yeah, because you can always outperform the base protocol, right? So it's not like you need to necessarily wait for TitanX to turn around to launch a protocol and do well,
Yep.
So you're just adopting the community, and you're using TitanX as an input, and you can still benefit greatly as a creator. So yeah, there's no real reason to kind of wait until the whole thing is going parabolic to launch your protocol. Yeah. And I think
I was about to say, just as a Flare perspective, we have 11 weeks of minting. So it's look, that's almost 3 months of time. So it's we release in February, we're all the way into May, so it's we're going to catch waves of bullishness and drop offs the whole entire time. So I'm okay with releasing at any time, because I have a super long-term view of it all. So, I mean, it's all good in my opinion.
Yeah, that's actually you have a really good mentality about it. Actually, that's exactly the winning attitude. Is you're not trying to cram the launch into something small. You're really thinking long term here. That's how you win ultimately. Because what you can accomplish, there's that tired saying about what you can accomplish in a few years compared to what you can accomplish in 5 years. Right.
Yep. And
that's how the crypto stuff is, because it takes a time to build up a user base, takes time to build up holders.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you're going to do well.
Appreciate it. Yeah. I can't stress enough how long I really am on crypto and Titanx as a whole. So it's like, why wouldn't I just create that same narrative in my brain on Flare? And I
Mhm.
really have a long term view of it. And obviously it has perpetual auctions, but at the end of the day, it's going to be capped after 11 weeks. So it's like full deflation after 11 weeks. Just kind of how DragonX is, right? It's shit gets really powerful the long term, and the numbers only get better. It always only gets better.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, DragonX, like people are just holding DragonX and they're getting a bigger and bigger share of the market cap just by holding it.
Yeah.
It's like reflecting rewards back to you in a way.
Yeah, I love it. It's been great. I mean, I was a day one mentor and it's been awesome, right? We had the highest high was insane, but I mean, what we're still up like 35x or whatever
Yep.
it is. Like it's not, it's way more than a 2x. So it's like at the end of the day, like that was one of the better. I just mint day one on every project and it allow it to do what it does. And some of them have big winners and some go up and down, but looking at 5-10 years from now, this is going to be just a blip in the timeline.
Yeah, and the thing about DragonX is like, it's actually we did a clean 100x in like what 2 months max.
Yeah.
It was like August to end of September, and we did like clean 100x. So yeah, obviously there's some selling going on, but yeah, like it's only 4,000 people, or what is it? It's not even 3,000. It's not even 4,000 people now. 3,700 or something in DragonX. So that's so small compared to what it could be. You have meme coins popping up overnight that get 10,000 holders.
Right.
So it's just a matter of like the potential for DragonX is still so massive, given the size of the liquidity pool and the number of holders. Like it's like we've almost just started. This could be a day one for DragonX. If you consider the fact that literally there are projects that are getting thousands of users in a single day, like everything is just primed. So that's why we're so aggressive with different marketing strategies, because we know that if we can hit that Tinder, then it's gonna light up. Like it's just we're just one thing away from, basically one good channel away from like DragonX being a lot bigger than it is, and that's why we're just continuing experimenting.
Yeah, and you kind of have to. I mean, at the end of the day, what we're doing in Titanx as a whole is very uncharted territory, and we just got to keep pushing and keep trying different things, because like you said, you never know what that one little catalyst, one channel that you're on, one interview, one KOL, one email market campaign, you never know what is really going to push it to that next level. But if we're not trying things and continuously pushing forward, then it's never going to happen. So definitely kudos to you. And you've been going crazy on X, like just tweeting like crazy, and the villain of Titanx, all of that stuff.
That was
I
fun.
just love that.
We even got a
that's
meme
funny.
coin out of that. Don't buy that meme coin, by the way. But yeah, we got a meme coin out of it. That was fun. I enjoyed that. It actually crushed my viewer count.
Did it
badly.
really?
Yeah, it did. It crushed it.
That's wild.
That's okay. It was worth it.
Yeah. I mean, you did it for what, 3-4 days? Like it wasn't even like it was a month, it was just like a little quick stint. So I just think that's hilarious.
Yeah, it was fun. Do we have any comments? I can't actually see the YouTube comments here.
Yeah, we have a ton. We'll start from the beginning. Let's see. If you guys have any questions, just put them in the chat. But it's really a lot of it's just like hype stuff, to be completely honest. It's just like bullishness, lead us to the promised land, right?
Well, now we are
studio looks fire.
Yeah, you guys like the studio? It's looking good. Giving the studio owner a thumbs up here. Yeah, I don't know, guys. Let's take some questions. I mean, so you can throw some questions in the chat if you want. So, I mean, for 2025, we have a lot going on. We got email, and by the way, I'm not going to promote the email to you guys at all. I want to actually see if you find it through other means. I want this to be totally new users. So if you do find it, like, let me know. Hey, I got shield your email list. But we got email. We got potentially DragonX games. Lending protocols, looks like we're kind of bottoming out on DragonX, on Titanx itself. So many new Ascendants launching. We've got a couple of stealth projects launching. We have Flare launching. There's so much going on. So yeah, it's super bullish.
we're not short of innovation and stuff. So he says, and what's your opinion on the pump wave 3 of Titan X? What do you think that? I mean, you kind of just went through it, but
yep. I think it's Oroboros, but I think it's Oroboros plus the market turning in our favor. I think we can't fight the market to a degree.
Yeah.
But that big supply sink and then the ability to farm stables is really, really, really strong. And you couple that with ETH pumping, and I think you've got a wave 3 potentially.
Yeah.
That all the other protocols are also burning on top of that, and it just becomes really, really strong. Good question though. And then more utility, right? Like cards, credit cards.
Yeah, that would be insane. That really would be. I mean, I use them, right? I have a crypto.com one, and it's like I just siphon them in there or, just cash it out. So, I mean, Dazzle says any new DragonX burners coming.
Yeah, check out Ascendant. They're going to be burning. Are they burning Tink? I think they're actually using DragonX and then burning Tink. I always forget. But that's one that's coming for DragonX. Like I said, we have potentially some games coming for DragonX later this year. Just potential. But rather than doing another token protocol with a new token, I think it would be better to have something that people want to engage with that burns DragonX in some way. So some utility.
Yeah. So so Ascendant has 20% of the Tink, or 20% of the total is going to the Tink bind burn, as well as giving DragonX rewards. So
right. Okay.
It's bullish for the farms and DragonX.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
And of course we have PowerX. I mean, let's see what the Hydra mining ROI is right now. It's just been this. It was so close to being positive, but it's market conditions. But if that ever comes back, then PowerX is another burner for DragonX indirectly through the Hydra protocol.
Yeah, I think a lot of this is just waiting, just priming. I mean, it's just getting more bullish as time goes on before everything starts going nuts. Yeah, and AI as well. Once we, definitely Jamie is a good trend, a good narrative to have, and I think we're, Jake's been sneak peeking it and tweeting about it, so we'll see.
Yeah, I think we could do better than just necessarily maybe just another agent. Like I think AI agents are maybe not like I like AI gaming,
Yep.
What if you could create a game where the AI is you're competing with an AI for a reward, something like that could be super cool.
Yeah. And it seems like with crypto gaming as well is when these projects, if they are really nice and well made, they get like instant adoption on these websites. I mean, people like really, put it in on websites, emails, tweet about it, whatever the case is. Cause I mean, if you can make profit off of playing games, it's like, who doesn't really want to do that? I would do it if like you play for a couple hours a day and you make money. Like that sounds good to me.
Yeah, for sure. And you could have different games too. You don't need to have one game. I mean, if we have the bandwidth, we could do a bunch of different games like people play. Yeah, there's some cool concepts. You could have PvP games. You can have
play to burn
AI games, play to burn.
Yeah,
not this super overly, not trying to rebuild what a classic game is, but something that actually fits crypto, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So he said, Revo says, also thinking about a token with a preloaded supply, X28 plus a verified X account to enter and get free tokens. So it's kind of like community incentive type of growth project, DeFi project. I guess
that's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. Have tokens just for marketing, like add your green circle and you get like a token.
Yep. Yeah. So Revo's been talking about that a little bit. I was like, I think that's great, and bringing it up now too as well.
Yeah, free money. It could be bonded with TitanX, so it'll have some value, right?
Yep.
That's really smart.
Yeah, and then you could get your reward token is like crazy volatile, and it could rip. So it's like let's say you made $10 off of doing whatever it is. at 10 years from now, maybe it's nuts. You know, like who absolutely knows?
Yeah, who knows? And bonded with DragonX, like, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Then you don't
that's
have
what
to
I
do
mean.
much. You don't have to do much at all if you do that, really.
Yeah.
just ride the wave. What else
Yeah.
we got here?
TEDx says when TitanX Lounge for you, Eric.
Like, you mean my studio? What do you mean
No.
TitanX?
So TEDx has a TitanX Lounge like stream, so it's like just people come in, hang out, talk about TitanX and stuff like that.
Yeah, we were actually. I think were we talking on X? Yeah, we should do something, man. I'm trying to also get on larger streams because I want new users. So that is one thing that's a big goal of mine for 2025. That's my primary focus. But yeah, definitely streaming with everyone in the community as well.
Yeah. So Cryptographic says, is the Pulse Chain Farms a fork, so to speak, of the ETH version? Will incentive tokens still be called Tink or something new? Same tokenomics?
Yep, same token. It will be a total a fork, equivalent fork. Probably also bring over stable farms. So yeah, a new token, new Tink issuance. And I don't know if it's necessary to have like an affiliate program for Pulse Chain because it's a pretty tight-knit community and we're already pretty closely connected with them. So I think we could probably skip that for Pulse Chain and then do it for Base.
And that'll help with, like you said, right? It's a tight-knit community. Once it's really adopted, it's really adopted. Base might be better to keep that and like double down over there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Jamie X says Taurus might be the first project to use PowerX ? I know you were hinting at that. Yeah.
Yeah, potentially. We have to see what the mining ROI is and if we have the bandwidth really to like to strap PowerX onto that. It is dependent also on how much effort we can put in.
Yep.
We have so much to build. I mean, it's actually getting out of hand.
Yeah. I mean, I've started learning that, I'm building Flare as we speak or getting Flare built, but conceptually in your brain, it's been done for months. Right. And so now it's like, all right, I'm already starting to think of something else and I haven't even released it, so I definitely couldn't imagine kind of what you and your team's going through.
Yeah. My guys ship so much code. It's actually insane. Like, kudos to them. I'm sure they're watching right now. Get back to work.
Let's see. So, Deep Pixel says, "How about Rollbit style protocol?" I don't know what that is.
What are they doing? What is Rollbit doing? It sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Rollbit. Oh yeah. This type of stuff. We could do this. Yeah, we could totally do this, man. I don't see why not. Like, we have good connections. You just kind of got to get the licensing right. Make sure that there is a subsidiary that's operating within the law and all that good stuff. And then the brand is meeting compliance standards where you are. So that's a process. So that's not like an overnight thing, but it's something I would really like to do. It's just, again, it's a matter of bandwidth, but there are games that are not games of chance that are also really cool too. So maybe we start with some of those, I like the idea of an elimination game where users are competing against each other. You have AI game, you're competing against an AI. So you don't have to go straight for the pure randomness stuff right away. But yeah, this is an option.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, shout out Frank. He's been pushing.
Hey, Frank.
Yeah,
Frank's got an email list.
Yeah, he does.
How many subs do you have, Frank?
I think on Twitter he has 5K or 4K. I don't know about YouTube.
But thank you, Frank, for what you do, man. I really appreciate it. Like, I'm on your email list. I'm getting your emails. So yeah, you didn't need to come out of the shadows, and you did, and much respect for you for that.
Yeah, me and him, he's traveling right now, but I'm trying to set up a stream with him next week or two, just to, just trying to give as much people as a platform as I can. Right, I don't have the biggest following or anything, but the more streams we have and whatnot, the more people have a potential of seeing it. So,
yeah, for sure. And I think punching up is something that we also need to do, like as a community, finding new YouTubers. Like if you can find someone that has the same number of subs as you, but they're not in DragonX right now, then that's a win, you know?
Right.
So, and you can also like, you can flex your subscribers. Excuse me. Right? Go to some people that have similar size audience and say, hey, like I have 2,000, you have 2,000. This is mutually beneficial. Let's get on a stream. We can talk about our stuff. I think that's a good strategy, actually.
I'm definitely going to start doing that. I need to, especially with the rollout of Flare plus 11 weeks of, you know, minting and cycle, right? Of, you know, it would be good to have that not only for Titan X, right? You could always talk about Titan X, Dragon X, and the macro of what we got building, but, you know, bring in more people, right? Because I think a lot of projects, including Flare, right? I mean, we take in ETH, right? And we want as much ETH users as possible, not even necessarily Titan X users. I want
Right.
people just to say like, oh, I can get in with ETH. Cool. Let's do it. You know, that's what I really, truly, my biggest goal is to inflate more Titan X users that don't even really know they're really using Titan X almost.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'd love to see more marketing discussions within the community. I know we're a very builder focused community, which is good. We have more utility than like a lot of L1s, which is insane. And it's only going to expand as we focus more on utility based builds like lending and cards. But marketing discussions are important to have. Like I think as you guys are streaming, as people are talking, like make a point to talk about how you could break out of our shell. And you know, if there's any community initiatives, you guys feel free to run them by me. We did a development grant. I don't know if we'll do a marketing grant, but maybe we could have a bounty, some kind of bounty or reward. Like the guy who gets the most on the most streams outside of our community gets like 10 grand.
That would be huge.
Right. The guy who gets 5 grand, right? Or you get like $1,000 for every subscriber that another YouTuber had and you were on their stream, right? So you get like $1 for each person. Like, so if you're in a 1,000-person stream, you get $1,000, right? I don't know. Just some ideas, right? You could have like a community bounty for marketing.
Yeah.
Could be cool.
Yeah. I think that's great idea. And at the end of the day, right, we're just trying to create some type of more initiative that we already have, right? I mean, we've been pushing for a long time, and you know, it's almost like we just got to change a little thing up, right? It doesn't have to be massive. It's like you said, just changing your view, trying to get on more other people's streams, and just trying to create olive branches between different communities and stuff like that. Because, you know, people, when they hear about it, they like what they hear every time, it seems like. So they really just got to have an in-depth sit down talk with somebody in the community that kind of knows what's happening.
And I do suspect that as things turn around, suddenly some people will come out of the woodwork. You know, I know there are some KOLs that were talking about us when Titan X launched, and they haven't really reactivated yet, but they're there, you know, and they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers. So I think you'll see a lot of that, and opportunities will open up for people to do co-marketing. So keep that in mind. Try to think how you can do co-marketing, and I would say make utility builds and co-marketing a really big part of 2025.
I like that. Yeah, I'm definitely going to be reaching out. I have a couple other people that I have been on their channels before in the past.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm definitely going to make a bigger effort to get on other people's channels and pages and stuff like that, because it's really powerful.
Yep, for sure.
So he says, will Power X help to promote Hydra and DragonX mainly, or other projects as well? Will there be an application process for other BOT protocols?
I like that it. I like that it benefits DragonX to have Hydra be the Power X affiliate. But if you have a really solid protocol that's getting good ROI, then we can talk. And also, you should factor in the fact that I like DragonX a lot when you're building, if you want to be included with PowerX. You know? So like if you're doing a mining protocol or you're doing some kind of game, right, and you want a referral system built into that, we have a really powerful referral system that we can bolt on to different projects. And if you want that IP from us, then consider incorporating DragonX in some way. I would say that's your best bet.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm really excited for Power X. I think it's going to be a massive, just another massive catalyst, in my opinion, just solely for growth and new users to come in. It really just created such a simple, effortless way for people to really interact without even necessarily knowing exactly what they're interacting with.
Yeah, it's much more simple. The UI is much more simple than Hydra. They don't need to know all the lore and all the background about DeFi or anything really. And that's just a way better way to onboard a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. Damn. Yeah, I'm pretty pumped. Anybody else have any more questions? I don't want to take too much of Erik's time, but this has been awesome. We got almost 225 people in here, and that's just off of my channels as well. So it's a lot of people are tuning in, and I love hearing from founders, but also kind of getting brainstorming and just talking not only macro crypto, macro in general, right? And this has been a great conversation so far.
Yeah, definitely. I appreciate your time, man. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. Yeah. So anything, we're going just over an hour. I mean, we can keep going, or if you want to say some final words, you can do that as well.
I don't know. Are there any specific, any good questions here we can answer before we tie up, and then we can just tie up on that.
Yeah. I think we really, no more new-ish questions. So,
Okay.
and guys said, are you excited for the Ascendant launch?
Yeah, definitely. I think the app is beautiful, and they've thought a lot about how to make it sustainable. So, yeah, it should be good.
Yeah, it's going to be. I love the colors, the vibrant blues and whatnot, and obviously, I love Dragon Ball, so it just adds to my liking of it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, if there's no new questions, I guess we could tie it up. It's been 1 hour, so.
Yeah, cool. Hey, man, I appreciate your time for coming on, and at the end of the day, you could always come and join again, right? And if you got more announcements or just want to come hang out, right? All good. You could always come and reach out to me.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate you lending your platform to me, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to Flare, and 2025 is going to be great for DragonX. So I'm excited.
Hell yeah, man. Yet again, thank you for coming on. This has been Smooth and Crypto. I'm your host, Maxwell Smooth, and we're out of here.
No need to ask, he's a